circle of giving.
When we got down to the coast, I call it the Wild Wild West. There's no other way to call it. It was open season on immigrants. Contractors had carte blanche to pay them whatever they wanted, if they wanted to pay them at all. The abuses, people were brought here, there was no place for people to stay. The only hotels that were still standing were taken up by the FEMA personnel and by all of the contractors that came to work.
Workers and communities of color across the Gulf Coast were experiencing an extraordinary amount of exploitation. Immediately after Hurricane Katrina, the Gulf Coast turned into ground zero for exploitative practices, both by government and corporations. And the people who were the worst off were people of color. Hundreds and thousands of African American families and workers from the region lost their jobs. The failure of the government did not end simply in the rescue operation. The government also failed to create policies and practices that brought displaced people back to the region. African American workers were racially excluded from the reconstruction of New Orleans. Meanwhile, immigrant workers were exploited. While black workers were locked out of the reconstruction, immigrant workers were locked in. They were brought often by recruiters, often through extremely coercive means, and brought to a Gulf Coast and locked into extremely exploitative workplaces. So life on the ground just after Katrina was indeed not only chaotic but extremely cruel.
I have a vision of all the children finding their mission in the great design. Together we're building, so they'll be living the circle of giving in their time. The circle of giving in their time.
If it had not been for groups like UUAC and UUSC to come in and offer assistance, I guarantee you people would be dead. They would be without homes and without hope.
When we did a call to Universalist, okay, they gave us money for a building, and that's why we are more productive today, because of the money that we got for the building and for rent. That enabled us to get the building that we're in today. And without that, we would still be working in our homes.
It's always important to talk about why New Orleans is not a toss-away city. Somebody said we're the soul of the country. It's a place of neighborhoods still, in spite of their being broken up by this flooding. That's one of the things that makes it special. And the other thing is, the people of New Orleans are simply more attached to place than most other people are. Many people say, well, you know it's low land, you know you're in danger of flooding again. Why are you coming back? Why do you want to live here? But because of that attachment to place and the socio-cultural fabric of New Orleans, native New Orleanians are going to do everything they can to come back home. And no one should underestimate their resilience in that effort.
The work that's been done after Hurricane Katrina in the last 3.5 years is driven by the belief that people directly impacted by race and poverty are the experts. They should be the ones at the table designing the solutions.
So we've opted to hug New Orleans and love on New Orleans, and love this neighborhood, and so that's our piece of mitigating our losses, if you will.
And I got a chance to speak at the Unitarian University, and what I said there, I said today, and I end my little speech that day to saying I am an honorary Baptist Unitarian, and that's what I am. So I'm a Unitarian at heart.
To all beside us and all behind us, may you remind us from where we've come. Those not yet with us, oh, won't you give us a prayer of peace, a song of freedom on our tongues. A prayer of peace, a song of freedom on our tongues. I have a vision of all the children finding their mission in the great design. Together we're building so